Good evening, members. Good evening. Welcome to Castle Point Council's Cabinet agenda. Before we start proceedings, can we just go around and introduce ourselves? I'll start with Councillor Fuller.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Michael Fuller, Cabinet Member for Environment.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening. Councillor Carol Sage, Health, Wellbeing and Housing.
Councillor Barry Palmer, Economic Growth and Climate Action.
Good evening, Councillor Tom Gibson, Special Projects and Assets.
Good evening, everybody. Councillor Russ Savage, Cabinet Member for People and Community.
Good evening, Steve Mountford, for Cabinet Member for Resources. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, members. Okay, have we got any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chairman, we have apologies for absence from Councillor Warren Gibson.
And now I understand Councillor Gibson is not very well, so we wish him all the best. Okay, members, item 2, members' interest. Are there any interests? Councillor Fuller?
Chairman, I'd like to declare in the interest of openness and transparency an interest in a non-pecuniary interest in item 4, in that I live in very close proximity to one of these proposed developments.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 3, the minutes. Members, Councillor Fuller.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'd like to just point out that there is an error in the minutes from the last meeting, in that I was attributed as giving an interest in the item to do with the Believe the Pavilion. In fact, actually, my declaration of an interest was actually to do with the proposed work on the tennis courts on the King George V playing field. So that is an error. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Palmer,
sorry, Chairman, if I may, just for completeness, that's in respect of minute 30, rather than minute 30 is the minute under which you made the declaration. Yeah, that was concerning the lawn tennis club. Yeah. Okay, we'll make that correction.
Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Leader. In the list of those present at the last meeting, I'm not listed yet. 2 paragraphs down, I'm listed as declaring non-pecuniary interest in Thorney Bay and the construction of the 2 new houses in Linden Way, which I wish to do again tonight because I still live there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, Councillor. With the minutes corrected, is that agreed? Thank you very much. Okay, members, we go on to then, before we go to the next item, there's an item relevant, minute 29, Public Spaces and Play Space Fund. And I would like to hand Councillor Tom Gibson the petition presented to Council supporting an outdoor gym at the Tar Pots Recreation Ground, as this falls within his Cabinet member's responsibility. And I'll give it to you afterwards, Councillor Gibson, save you coming up. Thank you very much. Members' questions, I've been told there are none. Moving on to actually item 4, construction of new local authority housing development. Councillor Satch, your item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The report before Cabinet is proposing 3 developments consisting of 1, 2 and 3 bed homes to be rented at an affordable rent via the Council's Housing Needs Register. Castle Point has a significant shortage of properties for ongoing occupation, with currently 470 households on the housing waiting list for non-sheltered accommodation, of which 249 of these are classed as being priority needs. The Council receives receipts from right to buy sales, but the monies retained are time limited and must be used within 5 years. The Council can fund 40% of the expenditure on new developments from those receipts. So, to avoid repayment, Castle Point needs to spend in total £2.1 million prior to March 2027 and a further £1 million by March 2028. Agreement is being sought for the initial budget to allow a full site investigation that will allow planning applications to be made. These sites are Linden Way, Canvey Island, Bendy Lock, Canvey Island and Carlton Drive, Benfleet. All sites are brownfield sites that had or have council garages on them. The council will of course build these properties that not only meet current standards of thermal comfort but offer high levels of energy efficiency for future tenants, such as air source heat pumps combined with underfloor heating and PV panels feeding power to the house. Also, each home will have a dedicated EV charging unit in one of their parking spaces. Details of these sites have been included in the report for consideration. The mix of bedroom numbers also goes to address the most demand on the Housing Needs Register. Outline business cases have been provided for the 3 schemes along with the intended delivery timescale, identifying completion by December 2025. The viability of the schemes will be subject of ongoing reviews and Cabinet scrutiny during the contract award process, at which time the Council's Section 151 officer will make a final assessment of the most appropriate funding method. As detailed in the report, over a 25-year period, it is anticipated that the net income from the developments would be in the region of £329,000 to the Council's housing revenue account, and at the same time removing 7 households from temporary accommodation, which should save the general fund around £70,000 a year. I would therefore ask members to agree the recommendations as set out in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Satch. Members, are there any questions? Okay, members, this is a good news story. It shows that, this administration is doing its utmost to actually build affordable housing and will continue to do that. So the recommendations are listed, members, in 3.1 and 3.2. Is that agreed? Thank you very much. Moving on, members. Item 5, Castle Point Regeneration Partnership. The purpose of this report is to approve the proposal for the renewal of the Castle Point Regeneration Partnership as the Castle Point Place and Partnership. Links to the Council's priorities and objectives. The report links to the corporate plan objectives, economy, growth, people, place and environment. Members, there are 2 recommendations, 3.1 and 3.2. The recommendations agreed. Thank you very much. Moving on, members. Item 6, Treasury Management Update. Councillor Mumford, would you like to remove your report? Would you like to give your report?
Thank you, Chair. Caught me there. The report is there and is very standard for this reporting. I don't think there's anything really to highlight. It's very standard. I think the only thing for me to call out to bring to your attention is the continued high interest receivable on our savings as a result of the current interest rates. So obviously there's a knock-on effect to the cost of living for people on their mortgages, but for us we're currently benefiting with our savings. Apart from that, I present the report, and then if there's any questions, I'll take them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mumford. Are there any questions, members? This item is for members to note. Is that noted? No. Thank you very much. Item 7, Corporate Performance Scorecard, and that's Councillor Mumford as well.
Thank you, Chair. Again, fairly standard for this reporting period. There's a couple of new reporting indicators for leisure membership and number of participants on swimming programmes, and just to note that the additional hours spent on highway grass cutting to meet the standards was undertaken by the contractor at no extra cost to the council. And 99% of fly tipping was removed within 1 day. Otherwise, if there isn't any questions, I present the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mumford. Members, anyone got any questions on that? Member, the report. Oh, Councillor Savage.
Probably a question for the CEO actually, but have we responded as a council to the survey by Essex County Council with respect to the potential of the tips staying as a book only service? because it was a trial and they're going through a survey process now. The recommendation, I think, from Essex being that they're going to keep it as it is.
You got me? Don't know. And John? Oh,
We haven't responded as a council. I think it's for individual households primarily to respond to whether or not the system is working for them or not. But what we have been doing, we have been supplying Essex with information about the number of fly tips we have in the district or in the borough since the scheme was introduced. And I think Essex are collating all that information to see if there's any evidence that the booking system is leading to an increase in fly tips. In terms of the information collected so far, we've seen a slight increase, but not. It's too small to say. It is definitely as a result of the booking system. And elsewhere in the borough, they haven't found any increase at all. So I think there isn't the evidence gathered as yet to support that suggestion.
Thanks a lot. That's where I was coming from, actually, the fly.
Thank you, Leader. I think also the data that was coming in has shown that there's a drop in the number of people actually using the tips. So Essex are now looking to see whether it's worthwhile keeping them open, which could be detrimental. So some areas might not have a tip in the future because people can't get in there.
That's obviously a decision for Essex County Council. There has been a significant reduction in the number of people using the tips, but I think one of the reasons for introducing the booking system was to try and discourage commercial waste going in there, because the tips are provided for the disposal of household waste and not commercial waste.
I thought it was to pacify Rayleigh, whose entrance was off the high street and caused chaos during shopping.
okay, members, no more questions. Thank you for that. Can you note the report? Thank you very much. Agenda item 8 is the ASELA Joint Committee update, and I'm going to hand that over to the Chief Exec.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this is the quarterly report following the ASELA Joint Committee meeting. Key points to highlight is the refreshed focus and rebrand to South Essex councils. Both of these reflect the government policy change, which sees the repatriation of the local enterprise partnership powers and money back from the South Essex Local Enterprise Partnership, SELEP, to Essex County Council as the upper tier authority. South Essex Councils mirrors an arrangement in the north of the county called, you'll guess, North Essex Councils, and will provide a sub-regional devolved business board. The change in government policy also necessitates changes to Opportunity South Essex, which is the federated board of SELEP, and its sister in the north of the county, which is known as Success Essex, and the ramifications of which are reflected in the report. And that's the purpose, members, of the second recommendation, as the new LEP arrangements are due to take effect from the beginning of the new financial year, and it's intended then that details relating to those new arrangements will be shared with members following completion of the transition arrangements.
Members, any questions? If not, members, the recommendation, is that agreed? Thank you very much. Item 9, matters referred from the Standing Committee. There are no. Item 10, matters referred from the Policy and Scrutiny Committee. There are no matters. Thank you, members. That concludes the meeting. Good night. See you next time.